I keep falling asleep or into deep fantasy states when I meditate longer than 30 to 45 minutes. I catch myself, but I'm curious about others' experiences. Does this fade with time? Or like so many things, will I just get better at it, coming back to the meditation sooner for a more sustained period? That's Sloth and Torpor. That is, basically what's happening is, if you're lucky enough to get to the point where your mind starts to get calm and peaceful, your mind is trained that when you're in that mind state, you're about to fall asleep. You're lying in your bed, you're ready to go to sleep, and you pass out. So what you're doing is you're trying to retrain your mind into understanding that no, you're not trying to fall asleep, and that's hard. Sloth and torpor is probably right now one of my biggest issues, because I can get through a lot of like the restlessness and understanding how to calm my mind and stuff like. The way I taught you guys today is exactly how I practice every day, reminding myself to let go, to put down my burdens, all that kind of stuff, and that usually works for me pretty good. But then it's like, and so that is. There's no easy answer to that, and I'm still working on that myself. Of course, the Buddha gives advice as to how to handle that. In Mahamoggallana, which is, these two guys right here are the two, the top bhikkhu students of the Buddha, Sariputta and Mahamoggallana. And there's a sutta of Mahamoggallana who, is very famous, monk. He's he's meditating and he's nodding off. And the Buddha comes up to him and he says, Moggallana, are you nodding? And he's like, yes. And so then he gives him these various different pieces of advice. Like one is to, if you're nodding off, you like pinch your earlobes, or you, what's some of the other ones? You imagine like light in your mind. You do all these kind of things. But some of the other ones are, reciting Dhamma. So just don't do that here. We'll be all quiet and somebody will start iti so bhagava, so we don't want to do that. But it's reciting something that you've learned. It doesn't even have to be in Pali, in English. So, but it's something that is that gives you a desire to practice. So these kind of things. And there's also, of course, opening your eyes, trying to meditate with your eyes open, doing walking meditation. And the last one that he says is, if all that other stuff fails, you go take a nap. So, there's different ways that you can try to work with this. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Because just by the fact that you're starting to nod off or be in these deep fantasy states, you're losing your mindfulness. So how can you be mindful while you're losing your mindfulness? That's the hard part. There's been times where I've been almost about ready to fall into the abyss, and I've caught myself and I've seen that and I've stopped. But that's been rare. Mostly. It's not easy. So examining the 5 hindrances is actually one of the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which I'll talk about in my talk on Saturday.